What if you could revolutionize your digital agency's operations with the latest cutting edge technology? Agencies today face the challenge of managing complex workflows while maintaining efficiency and trying to deliver those high quality results for clients. Traditional methods often prove inadequate in handling the increasing demands of clients and the dynamic nature of our digital marketing world. And inefficient workflows, those lead to bottlenecks, resource wastage, and subpar client experiences. Agencies can struggle to keep up with the fast-paced digital landscape, resulting in missed opportunities and declining competitiveness. And that's what we're covering in today's episode of the Martech Show.
The past is gone. Now's the future.
This is the Martech Show, exploring today's marketing technology solutions. Social media, artificial intelligence, augmented reality.
Now's the future.
Content, SEO, email, analytics, listening, advertising, and more. I'm your host, Mike Alton, and I'm joined by agency owner and technology futurist Robin Diamond. Each episode explores the latest developments in marketing technology and shares new solutions and innovative approaches that you need to know about to grow your business today. And now, the rest of today's episode. Welcome back to the Martech Show, where Robin and I get to dish on what's shiny and new in the Martech space, and then do a deep dive into a specific platform or solution that can help you and your business today. Hey, Robin, how are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
I am great. I am so excited to get into this. We've been kind of off for a few weeks, back to our regular schedule now, and some huge news within both the AI and the digital marketing space. Australian tech darling Canva has announced their acquisition of Leonardo.ai. Leonardo is an Australian startup also, and has been one of the more popular image and video generation platforms, touting nearly 20 million registered users. Canva, by comparison, has over 190 million active users. 16 million of them are paid. And that's just the latest in a series of acquisitions by Canva, including Affinity, Flourish, Smart Mockups, all designed to help establish Canva as that all-in-one solution or hub for creatives, as well as help it move up market. Robin, what do you think of this news?
Okay, first of all, let's applaud Canva once again doing this. The things that are coming out of Australia, I mean, incredible at this moment. I want to applaud them. And I think the news was really exciting, but I kind of want to play devil's advocate here, Mike, and I hope you're ready to play too. Them adopting this whole, AI system leaves me to wonder if you didn't notice 30% of CMOs brought things in-house, and they're starting to leverage AI, and Canva is encouraging this, which is great. But when do we move from a creation to a curator? And I think that's really what we're seeing right now. And so I have some fears. I think it's great. It's going to be great. But are all of our images going to look the same? Is every social media going to look exactly the same because of what Canva's been able to help us do?
Yeah, I don't know. One of my concerns was more for the creator economy that's evolved around Canva. If you go into Canva today, maybe some of you listening or watching haven't used Canva a lot, and you go to use an image from Canva's library, there's tons of images there. A lot of them are premium images where either you pay $1 or you get it for free if you're part of Canva's paid subscription service. But it's not Canva that's building out those images or creating all the other graphics anymore. They're using creators like Donna Moritz is a friend of Agorapol. That's her entire business now. It's been revolutionized. She's creating templates and images for Canva. And if I can go into Canva and simply say, create for me an image that looks like X, Y, and Z from a prompt, rather than trying to pick through all the available stock photography, that might put a dent in that creator economy as well, I think.
And that is the one thing that we have to look at is creator versus curator. And it's great to have both, but at what point are we just going to be curators of the same images? And so I think, as this is a very exciting news, I think the CMOs, I'm talking to the CMOs out there, the VPs of marketing, don't get rid of your creative team. Allow them to leverage this, but don't replace it, because that's actually what they're saying, is that they think this will replace people. And we keep talking about that. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be leveraging it. So I am a little worried about the creator economy. I'm interested to see what happens. Are we going to have a flip in 2 years? Should we mark this and then 2 years from now come back and see oh my gosh, we had to bring back creators because there was, this emptiness. And look at the movie WALL-E. If we really need to look back of creator versus, curator, there might be just spitting images of the same thing. It's kind of unnerving, kind of exciting at the same time. I'm not sure how to feel.
So those of you watching, listening, if you're watching the replay, let us know in the comments. A, are you a Canva user? We'd love to know that. And B, are you excited or are you kind of apprehensive or you're just on the fence about this AI acquisition? So today, imagine if you could transform your digital agency's operations with the latest tech tools. That might sound pretty great, right? A lot of digital agencies today, they might struggle with managing complex workflows and keeping everything running smoothly. And let's face it, traditional methods just don't cut it anymore. Those inefficiencies, they can lead to headaches, waste resources, and ultimately unhappy clients. In this fast-paced digital world, you can't afford to miss a beat. So today, we've got a special treat for you. We're talking to Anne Cheng, the award-winning CEO of Supercharge Lab. She's going to share how your digital agency can use AI and machine learning to streamline operations, optimize workflows, and offer more personalized services. With Anne's extensive experience in transforming businesses, she's got some incredible insights that can really help you up your game. Hey, Anne, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Robin. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So glad to have you. Can you start by just telling us a little bit more about Supercharged Lab and the kind of work that you guys do there?
Absolutely. So, Supercharge Lab was started way before the whole chat GPT revolution. When we first started, I was very obsessed about thinking of how can I get inside the minds of my clients. Obviously, I needed them to make a transaction to sell. I needed them to buy. I needed to sell to them. And so I said to myself, what if I could understand how they think? So while doing a lot of research about, buyer behavior, I started Supercharge Lab because I had a lot of data. And I realized that after 18 years today of running businesses, I've recognized that the biggest problem about running a business is that there's this administrative overwhelm. There's a sea and a tsunami of operational workflows, which were very painful. I also worked in the financial industry as a person in operations, and using that experience, I realized that a lot of things could really be done by machines rather than humans. They become more consistent. They become more trustable, reliable. And so that's when I started Supercharge Lab. The first solution we had was Segment AI, and that was a solution which really started to revolutionize workflows for agencies. Then the ChatGPT revolution came out, and everybody who says marketing technology today thinks, oh, you're doing generative AI. But the truth is, we started by looking at analytics. We looked at data about how do I understand workflows and how do I make workflows, whether it was the sales process, whether it was the business development process, whether it was the finance or customer engagement process, how do I optimize that? In the years that followed, we were able to launch several other solutions to help optimize workflows across multiple industries. So that's kind of what Supercharge Lab does in a nutshell.
Love that. That's super exciting. What inspired you to focus on integrating these advanced technologies into like a digital agency workflow? Like, what was your inspiration?
So I saw maybe about 20 at the top of this decade. In 2020, a lot of the barriers to entry in digital marketing were so low, right? You get a guy who's working for $6 an hour in the Philippines who is running your creative or doing your social media marketing. But as much as there was so much competition, the quality of output was incredibly low. Clients, they started getting more and more demanding, given the whole ChatGPT revolution, the Mid-Journey revolution, the Canva revolution. And so I guess that's where I started saying, hey, what can I do to help provide some assistance to the digital marketing economy, and say, how do we optimize operational workflows to help people do what they do best, whether it was in the creative, in the strategic side of things, not spend hours upon hours poring over data or figuring out, have you built that client? Have we followed up with this VP of marketing? As we all know that a lot of client side, they're all bringing marketing in-house. How do we stay competitive as agencies? So that's kind of the inspiration, and that's the impetus for us to launch multiple products across optimizing operational workflows.
And that data analysis is key. It's just so challenging for agencies to truly get into the data and have those kinds of questions answered. And I'm glad that you made that distinction earlier between generative AI and the kind of AI applications that you're doing today. Could you explain a little bit more about that AI and the machine learning and how that's actually able to streamline operations for agencies?
For sure. So I think we started off in this thing called robotic process automation, or RPA. RPA is the process of automating whatever could be automated through in your SOPs, your standard operating procedures. Take, for example, we know that the sales process starts with prospecting, then it goes into account nurturing, and it goes into understanding, having a discovery meeting, and so on and so forth, right? So if you understand the components of every operational workflow, you can actually optimize and set reminders. So, there are AI assistants who can do that. But in fact, you don't actually need reminders. You can program automation to do everything for you so that you can free up a lot of the memory space in our brains, our human brains, to really focus on the human connection, right? It's leveraging machine learning and automation. And then as you go along and you collect data on what works and what doesn't work, you then start to optimize the processes, the RPAs. That's where AI and machine learning comes in. So we've seen things like performance tracking, we've seen contract management, finance, customer engagement, customer communication, and even creative strategies coming out of workflows by understanding where the client is in their life cycle, as well as what's the competitive landscape.
That's so helpful nowadays. And can you share with us a little bit more about the specific technologies or tools that digital agencies can implement to help optimize? Which ones would you suggest immediately?
The first thing I would do is go into a digital audit with a client. Oftentimes clients, they either fall on the either end of the spectrum, right? They're either, I don't know anything about digital marketing, or I know everything about digital marketing. Oftentimes you don't see anybody in between. So for the people who don't know very much, a digital audit will be able to at least inform you of where you stand against your top 5 competitors. What are they doing? What are their strategies? It also tells you, are the analytics that you're getting, what's your key metrics, are they for real? Are they optimal in the marketplace? There are a lot of other things that you can do with a digital audit. For those who actually think they know what they know, then the digital audit really does give them a clear indicator whether what they know is truly what is out there. What does the data say? What does Google say? What do your competitors say? Do you know the signs that indicate that your competitors are switching their strategy? Why is that? So we do a lot of digital audits for large organizations, and that actually starts off the conversation. Then by understanding, the client's position, their objectives, their strategies, as compared to the competitors, as compared to the macro environment, what is Google moving towards, or where are your customers operating? So that would be another thing that we would do to assess and recommend strategies, and it's completely automated based on the data.
And we actually did something like that with Agora Pulse, where you worked with one of our former comms managers and developed an entire understanding of what the personalities and geographies and all the different details of our aggregate audience. How do we take it down though to the individual? How do some of these technologies help with personalization for clients and their audiences?
So personalization, whether it's for the audience, whether it's for the client. So there are 2 sets of audiences that I would speak to here. Firstly, for the clients, the corporates or the brands who want to get a personalized or a very specific strategy. As I mentioned, by determining where they are in their life cycle, who are they trying to target, understanding the competitive forces, and understanding what their current strategies are and where their audience strategies should be. That's what we do. We try to personalize the strategy. But going down to the personalization of communications for their audiences, that's actually very fascinating, because if you've worked in a brand and you have multiple target audiences, you need to be very specific about how you conduct your marketing and your outreach and engagement to these audience groups. And so that's a lot of data that you have to take in by yourself, analyze, and then structure your creative, your strategy. Even an agency will tell you that it's going to take months to come up with the strategy, because if you have multiple audience groups, it's going to be a lot of work. Today, with artificial intelligence, these strategies can take days, 1 or 2 days, for us to brush up our strategy and help you to implement it. It can also auto detect performance. It can analyze the performance. It can implement the performance against multiple algorithms set by big tech. So it helps you to shift between A/B testing to multivariate testing to value-based bidding autonomously. So I think that's where the personalization of communication to and engagement to customers will come in.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Anne Cheng about how marketing agencies can optimize all their workflows. And we're going to get into some specific examples to help illustrate everything she's talking about. But first, in honor of the Summer Games, I'd like to take you on a little journey to our headquarters near Paris.
So I'm hanging out here in Paris. Behind me, the iconic Eiffel Tower, which got me on Google. I did a search, what are the top tower destinations in the world? Number 3, Big Ben. Number 2, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And number 1, the Eiffel Tower. So you would always think, I need to go to the Eiffel Tower. But the fact is, all 3 of those destinations are amazing experiences. So think of towers the way you would social media. What's the right social media fit for you? When I look at the price point and the top players in the space for what you get, the most enterprise features, there's 3 players. There's Hootsuite, there's Sprout Social, and there's Agorapulse. So why is Agorapulse the right tower for you? Well, it's funny you ask. So I went to G2 because it's all the user reviews. What do we get are 5 reasons that matter to you as a marketer. Number 1, it says that we actually are the easiest one to use of those 3. Number 2, we have the best support, and that support is what really drives the machine when you're really frustrated. Number 3, pricing for teams. All right, you got a team? You want pricing that's affordable, that doesn't keep nickel and diming you? Agorapulse. Number 4, product direction. You are passionate about your social media features and functions. We're number 1. And number 5, campaign optimization. Are your campaigns working? Can you make them better? You tell me. G2 says those 5 reasons are what make Agorapulse the right choice over Hootsuite, over Sprout Social. Think of us as the Eiffel Tower of social media. My name is Daryl. I'm with Agorapulse.
All right. And can you share with us a case study or some examples of how some of these technologies and techniques have been used specifically to help agencies with their workflows, client outcomes, those kinds of things?
Absolutely. In fact, this is a client who I'm still currently engaged with. And let's just say that it comes from an industry that is what we call big evil corporate, right? So they are in the energy industry, and well, they want to be hip, they want to be cool, they want to engage their audiences, but their audiences absolutely hate them. And the number 1 search term was for this particular client was gas station near me. So I guess you know what kind of corporate we're talking about. So, well, I guess what we did was we started off with the digital audit, and we discovered that the audience that they were trying to target really enjoyed funny commercials. And they would scroll, YouTube for commercials that were tear-jerking, best commercials made in the last 5 years. They'll watch it on repeat. And so it's pretty interesting. We got them to do a lot of TikTok videos and other types of YouTube videos with a sense of humor about a very serious subject, right? So that was one thing that we discovered from our digital audit. We were able to do the analytics, and strangely enough, the one campaign that really started to gain a lot of traction was doing recruitment videos, funny, irreverent recruitment videos and commercials. So we started doubling down on employer branding for them. And well, we aren't an agency, but we worked with their agency and their in-house marketing team. And we realized that this brand actually started, gaining a lot of authority as a responsible company, because they were conducting a lot more interviews with their target audience, and also, they were able to relate on their audience's level as funny, irreverent, but still socially responsible. So that's a pretty interesting case study. But in doing this, we actually were able to also optimize their HR operations, which is random as opposed to just marketing operations.
I love that though. Like the fact that you can solution two different, totally different things. And actually, I think it's three, because it was clients and then hiring and then HR. Like it's all the things coming together that you were able to solution. And I think that speaks volumes about what you're doing, which is amazing. Okay. So big question is what are the challenges that digital agencies have when implementing AI or machine learning, and how do they overcome it? Because all we hear is pushback, pushback, pushback. So how do you know what the challenges are? And then how do you help them overcome those?
I think it's a very pertinent question, right? So it's the same across every industry when you say, what are the challenges of adopting AI? Firstly, it's the people who have money actually can adopt AI. Artificial intelligence, if you want to build optimal workflows, you won't see the investment, the ROI immediately. You'll see the ROI come a little bit later. So the first thing is the financial investment. It's very important to adopt artificial intelligence. If your clients are talking about it and you don't know what your clients are talking about, you're gonna get caught, right? So if you go to your client and your client has a head of data, and the head of data is talking about his background in R and data analytics, and how he's won awards for the competitions in math, and it's going in over your head right now. So you're like, what is he talking about? And this guy's in charge of marketing. This is a real world story, by the way. I had a client who had this guy who was total nerd, but he's the CMO, right? So if you're dealing with clients who are speaking that language and you have no idea what they're talking about, you gotta adopt the infrastructure. So the first thing is financial investment. Second thing is time investment, because you need to go at it with a long-term view. But more importantly is the education. And education cannot come from top down as well, right? So, I've seen so many companies where the CMO or the CEO says, we're going to adopt AI, we're going to hire a chief digital officer or chief AI officer. And everybody goes, and it doesn't, they're not willing to change the way they work, right? So I think those are some major challenges. And another thing that I've seen in the market is that large organizations who have the money to invest into AI adoption, they do so in the wrong way. What do? They start small. In the tech space, we call this, we'll do a single POC and then, yay, it's successful. And they stop there and they say, I've adopted AI, right? And so you see, like in banks, retail banks have a chatbot, and then everything else in the business has no technology. They're writing on pens and paper, and the files are thicker than the walls. So that's one of the problem, is that there's a very disparate adoption of artificial intelligence or even technology across the same company across different groups. So I think these are some challenges that people need to be really, really aware of.
I love your point about the
I'm
need for
laughing
people to
so
become
hard.
educated. Yeah, Robin and I've been nodding and laughing throughout. Those were really great points. Particularly like I was saying, the need for marketers to just understand AI and be able to implement. That's why I had a whole nother show, AI and Marketing Unpacked, as much to help other marketers as myself understand what RAG is and all these other terms and technologies that are coming to the fore today. But I also know one of the pushbacks we see from agencies is no. I need my people to be creative. I can't be relying on AI that's going to generate, to your point at the start of the show, Robin, images that's going to look like everybody else. So how do you see and some of this integration of technology impacting creativity, innovation, particularly with agencies?
You see, that's the thing, right? In agencies or in any business, innovation, creativity, it comes from the human beings. The internet is the tool, right? Remember the days that, when the first, search, I think it was Yahoo that got really famous, right? So Yahoo was the search engine or the tabloid engine of the world at that point. And, they said nobody's gonna look in the library anymore. Nobody's gonna read anymore. And similarly, when the iPhone came out, people were saying, "Oh, it's gonna be people are gonna get lazy," and it's true. Artificial intelligence is just another technology where people are using it. They're outsourcing the difficult stuff and the easy stuff to technology today. And that boils down to, are you hiring the right people? Are you engaging your people the right way in your organization? Are you engaging your employees or your teams to ensure that they learn in a very engaged manner? And we use artificial intelligence across every part of organizations, not just agencies, but we're not just talking about your creative strategy comes from Gen AI, but did you actually read it? Some of you might know that I teach in a couple of colleges, and a lot of academics were coming to me and bemoaning ChatGPT because all the thesis and submissions and projects were being written by ChatGPT. But the truth is, I asked them, then have you asked your students to defend what they're saying, defend their projects, present their projects? And I actually pit my students against each other. If you wrote your business plans with ChatGPT, and all your classmates are gonna ask you questions about your business plan, because if they can tear you down, they basically rank higher than you. So can you really defend it? So we gotta get creative as well in the way that we allow creativity to flourish in our organizations. Yes, we can use ChatGPT. Yes, we can use Canva. Yes, we can use Midjourney. But at the end of the day, can you engage the people within the organization in a creative way to ensure that they're very proud of their work? And I don't think anybody would be extremely proud of their image looking ghastly or not aligned with the client's brand.
I feel like this is a breath of fresh air, and your emotional intelligence for this is amazing. I love that you say engage. I just remember going to college pre-interwebs and having all of that and going to the library. I have to date myself. Going to the library, and then all of a sudden it was there and available. And it was like this huge, like you just said, a huge issue. And then we started integrating. Okay, great. We're just at another series of that. It's life just going, from typing to a computer to it just keeps evolutionizing. And we have to think of creative ways. So I love how you challenge those students and for them to defend it. With that being said, in your experience, what are the best practices for someone who's going to integrate this? Because you're helping people see why it's important. What are the best practices to integrate this advanced technology into operations?
I think the most important thing is engagement. Sorry for using this term so much, but it's not just educating people. I used to work in a bank back in the day, like a couple decades ago. And I remember as a banker, you have to attend these continual professional development hours and hours and hours about banking secrecy and anti-money laundering. And 80% of my colleagues were sleeping in the workshops. And I mean, like today I teach 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, about technology and engineering. And I bet 80% of them are not interested. They're not there because they want to be there. They're there because their parents paid for their education, or they got a scholarship, or they know that they need to go get a college degree and go out and get a job. They know it's their duty. Are they engaged? They're not. Absolutely not. So the first thing when we talk about best practices is engage the people. If technology is not going to help you, then why are you doing it? Right? So like the first person who bought the first smartphone, what was the first response? Oh, good God, I'm glued to my phone. It's my fifth appendage. So again, it's about engagement. How many people go to dinners today and they have to put their phone in a phone pile because they don't want to be disturbed, because the human engagement has to be there. They want people to be present. So we actually use technology and gamification to engage employees about education around artificial intelligence, automated workflows. What does this mean for them? How do they get ahead of their peers by adopting new technology? We even tell employees to teach each other, like having mentorship system. And the more you mentor your buddies in getting good at the technology, the more points you earn, more employee benefits you get, so on and so forth. So there are many creative ways to get around that. Best practice would be number one, engagement. Number two, make sure that you have a plan that's long-term and sustainable and across every single part of your business. It cannot be, let's just use Gen AI for creatives, and yeah, I've got AI in my company. Great. So does everybody in their phone, right? So make sure you have the right plans, ensure that you have a roadmap, you have a long-term plan, and you're completely invested. The person who did not buy the first computer and is using typewriters is now dead and out of business. So remember that that's gonna be us without AI tomorrow.
Yes. That's like
Ab-
amazing, because like that is so true. If you're not adopting it, you're not going to be there. That's the people who said, my business doesn't need social media. And now look at them. My business doesn't need, like, I love that you just said that.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, and for those who want to make a plan, like you just suggested, they have to have a plan. Let's think about the future then. You've been talking about how AI is changing everything that they're doing today. What trends do you see both in AI and the kind of workflows and processes we've been talking about today? How do you see that changing in the near future?
Particular to digital marketing, your clients are getting smarter than you. I think it's getting quite scary, that your clients, because they've got deep pockets, they're getting really, really, really smart about, algorithms. They're getting very smart about, analytics, data, and artificial intelligence. In fact, they probably have already implemented machine learning across multiple aspects of their business. So if you're not investing in it now, you're already late to the game. So I think one of the things that we need to do is get on with the program and start to educate ourselves. The reason why I speak at a lot of shows like this is simply because the more you get out there and you speak about it, the more you learn about technology itself. So future trends is your clients probably already have a chief digital officer or chief AI officer or chief data officer, or all three, in three different people, expert level. So it's time to get with the program and really start to understand how you can implement AI across every aspect of your business, whether in digital marketing, whether in operations, whether in sales, which is where we started, to now we're even looking at, how do we optimize customer communications and engagement. Literally, there are applications out there which tell you when to call your customer for a cup of coffee.
Absolutely right. Great, great warning to all of you who are listening and watching. If you haven't yet started learning and adopting and integrating AI, you are behind. But the good news is it's not too late. You can start right now and you can get ramped up and educated very, very quickly. And this has been such a powerful talk. Thank you so much. I know everyone listening and watching probably needs to just go back and re-listen to it again to really ingest a lot of these concepts that you've been sharing. But for those who want to learn more from you, where can they go to reach out?
Yeah, you can reach out to us at superchargelab.com, or you can hit me up at LinkedIn. It's my handle is Anne-Cheng, Cheng, and yeah, happy to connect.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. And Robin, any final thoughts?
And I can't say thank you enough. You made this so simple and you were so direct. If businesses aren't doing this, they won't be around. And I think that's something that we all need to hear and get our reality. But you also made it. I love the new challenges and the perspective that you brought in. So thank you for bringing a whole different view that is practical that we can start working on tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, folks. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, The MarTech Show, we're on all the channels, and we'll be back next week with Get Response. Until next time, thanks so much. Thank you for listening to another episode of The MarTech Show, hosted by Robin Diamond and Mike Alton, powered by AgoraPulse, the #1 rated social media management solution, which you can learn more about at agorapulse.com. If you want to make sure you're part of our audience during live weekly broadcasts, take a look at our calendar at agorapulse.com/calendar, or click the subscribe button in your email once you register for any of these events. Is there a particular tool or topic you'd like to see us talk about? Or perhaps you think your solution should be featured? Email me at mike@agorapulse.com.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Christy Heiler hosts a fantastic podcast called Own It. Christy, tell us more about the show.
Own It is all about celebrating women and non-binary advertising agency owners. We talk about buying out of the Boys Club of Advertising because less than 1% of ad agencies are owned by women.
And where can people subscribe?
You can find the podcast at untilyouownit.com. We're also on the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcast.net. And of course, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.